Hello, it's time for another Gita video. We're taking a look today at chapter 7, verses 24 to 26. You might remember in the previous Gita video, we were looking at the earlier verses where it was talking about how people who dedicate themselves to the spirits, that is to say to pursuits beneath that of the ultimate, will gain things that are less than the ultimate, And so now we're moving on to what exactly is the definition of the ultimate. So, without further ado, verses 24 to 26. Those who have limited consciousness believe me to be an impersonal force. They do not know me as the great work, the force of life, never-ending and most sublime. Nor do I make myself visible to everyone. Those persons who are foolish, clouded by their connection to illusion, cannot understand me as the unborn and never-ending. I am completely informed of the past, present, and future, Arjuna. I also know all living beings, but none of them know me. So these verses are talking about how your understanding of the supreme ultimate, of the divine, of the Godhead, whatever you want to call it, are going to be limited by your suppositions of what the divine consists of. So just like in the previous video, the earlier verses, it says that someone who is pursuing something in life other than the ultimate is going to, at best, get that other thing and not the ultimate. These verses are saying that the person who pursues the ultimate with a preconception in mind of what the ultimate is likely to only be able to understand some kind of a part of the ultimate at best. So people with limited consciousness will presume that the ultimate is just an impersonal force and not a force that also represents a directing force, let's say, the great work. And people who are foolish and clouded by their connection to illusion might imagine the Godhood as a purely personal force, as, a man in the sky or something like that, and will then not comprehend the concept of God as unborn and never ending, God as the eternal. So if you think of the divine as well, the divine is an energy, right? Then you'll only be able to understand, at best, that part of the divine that's an energy, right? And if you think of the divine as a bearded man in the sky, then you're only going to be able to understand God as this anthropomorphic projection of your own self, So if you're free of ideas and free of notions about what the ultimate is, of what the divine is, then you will have the chance to see the divine as this absolute, as existing in a never-ending presence in all things, as material and non-material at the same time, as never created and never absent, as present in people and things, as present in mind and energy. The supreme is something that is so beyond, the ultimate thing is so beyond our ability to intellectually box in. The very ways our mind works is by a kind of a dualism where we divide things into categories and then put everything that we can into these different criteria, into these different categories. We sort things out into little boxes. But the divine is the ultimate out-of-the-box concept. It's something that has to be outside of all understandable definition. And so that's why in verse 26 he says, I am completely informed of past, present, and future, Arjuna. I know all living beings, but none of them know me. The divine ultimately is something that is beyond intellectual understanding. You can't end up getting to there from here, from purely from the mind. No amount of study and research is going to get you to an experience of the divine. There's a joke that is told sometimes in comparative religion departments which is that a religious studies scholar dies, and he suddenly finds himself enveloped in light, and he flies up through the clouds, and he ends up in this place where there are these pearly gates, and the gates open up and he's allowed in, and he walks in there, and he looks and sees that up ahead there's a door, and the door has a label on it that says from here God, right? And he's overjoyed, and he's rushing over there, and he's about halfway there when suddenly he notices there's another door, and he looks even happier, and he turns away from the door leading to God and runs over to that other door and rushes in. And the other door was labeled, "Hear a lecture about God." And that's a joke that in some ways it reflects a lot of people's way of trying to approach the mystical path. You can't get there by trying to find a way to define God. As soon as you succeed in that, all that you're actually succeeding at is creating what you could call a demiurge, right? A false God. Because by definition, God has to be something beyond. So you can only become God conscious, so to say, by dropping the attempt to have definitions and being open to an experience that transcends your intellect. That's the essence of what you have to achieve. So that's everything for today. If you like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and share the video anywhere you think people might be interested in hearing about it. And if you did like the video, if you just stumbled on this video, check out the rest of the playlist where I'm giving commentaries in order in the Bhagavad Gita as we go along. And check out the other playlists on this channel that deal with a number of other interesting topics in mysticism and spirituality. And if you're looking for a system of spiritual training, then especially pay attention to the Yifa Society playlist. Finally, you'll find a link in the description below where you can subscribe to a contact list. We never use it. We don't send you emails or anything like that. But if you subscribe to that list, you'll in the automated message that will contact you when you subscribe, you'll find a link there where you can download a PDF of The Path and the Power, which is my interpretation and commentary on the Tao Te Ching. So if you've got, if you've got the Song of the Blessed One, which is the Bhagavad Gita, or especially if you've got the Magician's I Ching, which is the commentary and interpretation of the I Ching, you might find that the Tao Te Ching very interesting, and you can get it for free on PDF just by signing up. That's everything for today. Thank you very much.